to talk about multiplying fractions. So simple if you know your facts. This all boils down, again, I keep saying it in class, Mrs. Oliva keeps saying it, you have to know your facts. So study those facts every day. Basic multiplication facts. The quicker you can get, the easier this kind of stuff will be. So today we're going to talk about multiplying fractions. We are going to start with a couple notes. We did a little bit of this in class, so some of this might be a little bit of a review, but it's still important that we have notes. And I remember Anthony asked us to take some notes on this second thing, so we're going to practice this. Today this is going to be my main focus, and the multiplication stuff, like I said, really should be a review. Alright, so we have, if you have, I'm going to pull the shade real quick. Sorry. There we go. That sun is brutal. Okay, so if you have a whole number times a fraction, we did this on Thursday, you're going to place a 1 under the whole to make it a fraction. So here's my example. If I do 5 times 1/3, that's the same as, equal to, 5 over 1, because anytime we put a 1 underneath, it just means we have 5 wholes. So 5 over 1 is the same as 5. Those are equivalent. So 5 times 1/3 is the same as 5 over 1 times 1/3. So then when we multiply, we just multiply across the numerator, across the denominator. So we would do 5 times 1 is 5, 1 times 3 is 3. We would have 5/3. And then of course we would need to simplify that fraction because it would be improper. Step 2 is to cross-simplify if possible. This is what Mrs. Oliva talked to us about on Thursday, and doing that step first, because she explained to us as our numbers get bigger, our fractions might end up being really big, and we're going to end up having to do a lot of simplifying. So if we can simplify while our numbers are small, it's a lot easier. So we're going to cross-simplify if you can, and again, this is what our focus is going to be today. And then multiply across the numerator and across the denominator. And I didn't add on here, let's add to simplify if needed, because we might need to simplify again. We might not. So hopefully I'll make sure we can see this. Hopefully you can see that. Simplify if needed. Yep. It's in there, smushed all the way at the bottom. Okay, so these are our notes. Take a minute and pause, make sure that you have everything. You should have the date at the top of your page already. We're going to do some practice. Trying to move a little bit quicker. My last video took a long time. I got so excited about talking. I'm keeping my eye open for my next student assistant. Will it be you? I don't know. You'll have to say. I wanted Miss Oliva to come in video with me, but we have very different schedules, so it got very challenging. Alright, so we're going to really focus on that green note, that cross-simplifying. So the first one we're going to do together is 1/3 of 18. So this is the same as if I said 1/3 times 18. It's the same as having this little dot in here, which means 1/3 times 18. Okay, so I could express this in a couple different ways, which we're going to talk about in class, so I'm not going to focus too much on that. So I'll use the multiplication symbol, 1/3 times 18. So my first note was, if I'm multiplying times a whole, was to put a 1 underneath of that whole. So I'm going to turn this into 1/3 times 18 over 1, which is the same as having 1. So that step that Mrs. Oliva told us to take is to cross-multiply if we can. So when I look at this, 1 and 1, they're the same. They can't get any simpler than that. They can't get any smaller than that. I think I might have said cross-multiply. I meant cross-simplify. I'm not really sure. And we look at 3 and 18, and because I know my facts, I know 3 can go into 18. So I'm going to cross-simplify. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Okay? So now when I when I multiply this fraction, I'm going to do 1 times 6 is 6. And now I have 1 times 1, which is 1. 6 over 1 is the same as 6. Alright? Now let's say I didn't cross-simplify first. You don't have to erase. You don't even have to write this. I'm just going to show it to you. So let's say I didn't cross-simplify. Of course my markers aren't working. I would have 1 times 18 is 18. 3 times 1 is 3. This is an improper fraction. It needs to be simplified. So I would have to think to myself, how many 3's go into 18 without going over, which is exactly what I did when I cross-simplified. 3 and 18 are not big numbers, but like Mrs. Oliva said in class, eventually you'll get numbers like 72 and 54, and even numbers into the hundreds. So if we can do it when it's small, it makes it a lot easier, okay? But our answer would still be the same because 3 divided by 18 is still 6. All right, let's do another one. Let's do 3/4 times 32, or 3/4 of 32, same thing. So again, we're going to take this whole, and our first step was to put a 1 underneath it so that we're multiplying a fraction times a fraction. 32 over 1 is the same as having 32 wholes. So again, I'm going to cross-simplify first. That's the first thing I'm going to do while our numbers are kind of small. So 3 and 1, anytime I have a 1, it can't get any simpler than that, so I'm not going to simplify that way. Of course. Hi!
Hi, your mom dropped something off in the office for you.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Morganti. Never can be free of interruptions. All right, so I'm going to look this way, and I know that 4 and 32 have something in common. 4 can go into 32. So I'm going to divide by 4, which would give me 1. I divide this by 4, see if you can figure it out before I write it down, is 8. Okay? So we have 1 times 1. We're going to multiply straight across. 3 times 8 is 24. 1 times 1 is 1. And anytime there's a 1 on the bottom, that's a whole number. So my answer would be 24. Okay? Let's try another one. All right. 4/5 of 35. Remember, this of is the same thing as doing a multiplication symbol. So I'm going to start with step 1, putting that 1 underneath my whole number. Sorry. Okay, 1 underneath the whole number. And I'm going to cross-simplify. I'm not doing anything this way because I have a 1 here. That's in its simplest form. Sometimes we might need to simplify here, but none of the ones we're doing today, we will have to do that. And now I'm going to cross-simplify this way. Okay? I know that 5 and 35 have something in common, right? 5 goes into 35. 5 divided by 5 is 1. Try and get it done before I do. 35 divided by 5, 7. So now I have 4 times 7 across the top, which is 28. And 1 times 1, which is 1. So my answer is 28. All right? Let's do another one. We're going to go 2 more together, and then I'm going to leave you with 3 to do on your own. 5/12 times 24. Again, step 1, make this whole number a fraction by putting a 1 underneath. So we have 24 over 1. And we're going to cross-simplify. I'm looking here first. I can't simplify 1. It's in its smallest form, so I'm not cross-simplifying here. And now I'm going to look at this diagonal. Well, I know 12 and 24 have something in common, and that's 12. If I divide this by 12, I get 1. If I divide this by 12, I get 2. So now 5 times 2 is 10. 1 times 1 is 1, which means I have a whole 10 here. Okay? I'm moving kind of fast, but it's because I know my facts. Put the 1 underneath the whole, cross-simplify, and then multiply. Let's do 1 more. 5/6 times 42. Okay, step 1, make this whole into a fraction by putting a 1 underneath. Okay, cross-simplifying, 5 and 1. Remember, 1 is in its simplest form already. 6 and 42, I know that has something in common, and it's the 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 42 divided by 6 is 7. All right, 5 times 7, 35. 1 times 1, 1, which is the same as 35. All right, so we have lots of, not too many steps actually. I was going to say we have lots of steps, but they're really not that many steps. But again, I'm going to tell you, you have to know your facts. The faster you can memorize your facts, the easier this is going to become. So I'm going to leave you with 3 to do on your own. And then in class today, we're going to talk about different ways we can see these numbers and actually like some real life situations where we might need to actually multiply a fraction times the whole number. So 3 to do on your own. Take your time. Use different colors if you can, but you know, pencil is going to be our best bet here because we have a lot of math, and that way if you make a mistake you can erase. But it's good to show the cross-simplifying different colors. So my numbers are going to be a little bit bigger for on your own practice, but not too big. So 5/8 of 80, 4/15 of 45, and the last one is 7/9 of 18. Remember this multiplication, this of. Let's put a little dot in here so we can show that all of these, even though they're different symbols or a word in the center, they all mean the same thing. All right? Hopefully my big hair didn't get in the way of too much stuff today. I'll see you guys in a couple of minutes for class, even though you guys won't be watching this until tonight. So I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night. Dream about math facts. Dream about multiplication and division. Numbers floating in the air. All right, guys, I'll see you later. Have a good one.